Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews. So today we are going to take a look at our very first Dinomania figure from the new batch of figures that I got. And you can see already, probably, of course, by the thumbnail, but also by the figure in front of you, that this is their Ornithocheirus. It's one that I was really excited about, a species that I think there are so little figures out there of, so I was really psyched to be able to take a look at the Dinomania version here with you guys. But you can also probably tell the figure is so huge, I kind of had to slide his wing there under the backdrop just because it just takes up so much room with that wingspan. It's hard to actually fit into frame here into my review area, which is kind of a common problem when it comes to the Dinomania figures, as they are consistently absolutely gigantic, and these Pterosaurs are no different. And that's one of the things I think I love the most about the Dinomania figures, is the fact that they are so large, so they really have an impressive appearance to them once you actually get them out, but also kind of having a really lifelike appearance at the same time. And I love the Pterosaurs specifically because they just look extremely cool. Definitely the type of thing that once I can actually organize a room and display all my collection, I would like to hang these Pterosaurs kind of from the ceiling flying around, as they are perfect for that type of display ability. So without further ado though, let's go ahead and get a closer look at this beautiful Ornithocheirus right now. So starting up here at the head sculpt of our Pterosaur, you can see that there is some pretty darn nice detailing, nice kind of texturing going on to the beak of our Pterosaur. The beak overall has that beautiful Ornithocheirus look to it, with kind of like those humps that kind of elaborate there on the end of the beak. It looks really, really cool. I definitely love the appearance of this Pterosaur, and those eyes. Look at those eyes. Due to them using that plastic sort of glass eye type of a look, the eyes look genuinely alive and very realistic. And not to mention just the way that the kind of the eyebrow is sort of positioned, it really gives him kind of like a menacing type of a look. Like, you can look at this Pterosaur and easily tell he's up to no good. So I really do like the kind of evil appearance that they've given this Pterosaur. Really looks quite cool, but the beak is kind of like a yellowish coloration, and they've kind of painted it over like a darker color, but you could sort of see like a light gray as well creeping through, with a nice dark black wash and the yellow kind of dry brushed over top. And it allows for the beak to have some really nice detail kind of popping through, and I think it looks really nice the way they've done that. You can also see the teeth inside here, which look to be painted pretty nicely for the most part, sculpted out fairly well also. And then looking inside the mouth, you can see that the detail on the inside of the mouth, if I can actually find a good spot where the light will shine in, you can see the detailing on the inside of the mouth is also quite nicely done. There is some fairly nice looking sculpt work, as well as a really nice tongue sculpted out in there. You can see the tongue is nice and long, extremely long, but it looks really cool. Painted with like a purplish color and has a bit of a glossy appearance to it as well, so it shines fairly realistically. As we start to lead into the head of our Ornithocheirus, you can start to see some really nice texturing going on, kind of like some pycnofibers all over the head of the Pterosaur. And you can see it's like a blackish coloration up here, but then there's like a light gray here on the underside, and that continues as we move down the neck. You can see that that same coloration continues, as well as the really nice look as far as those pycnofibers go. And we move down into the actual body, and again, it's going to be a little bit complicated to review this figure just due to its size, but you can now make out the spinal column of the Pterosaur that runs down really nicely the entire back of the Pterosaur, as well actually as the rib cage. You can see the rib cage on both sides, and you can see how nicely sculpted the pycnofibers are up here on the back, and they kind of have a mixture of like a light gray, that dark black, and even browns in certain areas. You can also see the shoulder blade here protruding from the skin and the pycnofibers a little bit as we lead out into the arms. Actually, let's see if we could turn it around and get a more upright look as opposed to the upside down look. So now it looks a little bit better, I think. But as we move out into the wings, you can see kind of the muscle tone and everything really nicely displayed out into the hands. Very nice Pterosaur hands. The wings themselves also sport some beautiful detailing as far as the skin texture goes, and has like that dark black up here kind of leaking down as well in certain areas, but then it transitions to like a light gray, almost like a bluish gray down here on the bottom of the wings. It looks extremely, extremely nice. I definitely am quite a big fan of the paint scheme they've gone with on this one, really giving it a very dark look. And the wings look just like that on the opposing side as well. Really nice muscle tone, beautiful detailing and skin texture of the actual arm area and hand area, but also of the skin flap here of the wings, painted the same way that we just saw on the previous side. It looks really nice. And then as we move down into the actual legs of the pterosaur, you can again pick up on some of that muscle tone, as well as the undersides of the feet, sculpted with a really nice textured appearance. There doesn't really appear to be any specific paint added to the nails, just kind of what we already have. It's sort of like a light gray that they kind of dry brush over certain areas, and that's the same paint that we get there on the nails. On the underside of the head, you can see how nicely done the detailing is, especially in the light gray area of the pycnofibers in the throat and everything. Looks really nice as we move here into the body, and now you can see the body looks really nice here on the underside. You can also see the rib cage, and just in general, the entire bone structure of like the chest and everything of our Ornithocheirus looks really cool. Very nice detailing added to the overall sculpt of this pterosaur, as well as the nice muscle tone on the underside here as well. You also have that same similar look as far as the skin texture, but also the paintwork here on the wings and the skin flaps of the wings. You also have these kind of almost like veins that run out, but they're very large veins, but this is also a very large figure. You can see it looks the same over here on the opposing side as we move out the entire length of our wing. And then if we look down here, the legs pretty much look the same as they did up above. Nice muscle tone. You can kind of see like the knees and everything. And then moving down into the feet also look really, really nice. Again, you can actually pick out the nails and everything, even though they're not really painted specifically, but the gray has run over them, so it kind of appears as though they are. But definitely a really, really cool pterosaur figure, and I'm super psyched now to have another Ornithocheirus in my collection. And to give you a quick look at the opposing side of the head, because I actually realized that I didn't do that, you can again see how nicely done the eye is. Having so much detail within the eye is super exciting to me. I love that kind of plastic glass eye effect that they do with their figures, and I think it looks exceptionally cool here on the pterosaurs themselves. Awesome figure for sure. So measuring this pterosaur might be a bit of a task, but we'll get it done. So from the foot to the tip of the beak, you're looking at about 16 inches, or about 40.5, maybe close to 41 centimeters there in length for the entire length of our pterosaur. But as far as a wingspan goes, and we're again going to have some problems getting it into frame here to really get a good look at the wingspan, but we should be able to do it right from about there. So for a length, and it's not going to be perfectly viewable probably from your vantage point, but it's at about 24.5 inches, so about 2 feet, just a little over 2 feet, or about 62 centimeters. So pretty darn long, if you ask me, as far as a wingspan goes. Definitely a very, very large pterosaur figure, much larger than even the deluxe Collect A figures. But for a size comparison, there is Mr. Papo T-Rex, the Attack Pack Colovosaurus, and Robert Muldoon from the Mattel Jurassic World toy line, next to our oversized Ornithocheirus. And you can definitely tell that this Ornithocheirus figure here is quite large, exceptionally large, especially in comparison to the Papo Rex there, which is a very large figure in his own right, and he's quite easily dwarfed by this Ornithocheirus figure. So again, the Dinomania figures are impressive in every way, but the size is pretty much off the charts. So this Dinomania Ornithocheirus figure is awesome. Another really cool pterosaur from this line. The previous pterosaur I looked at was just the Eudimorphodon, which I was a huge fan of. I thought that Eudimorphodon was really cool. But now having even more pterosaurs from the line here makes me so excited for each and every pterosaur that they do have in their line, because all of them seem to be really cool and really beautifully done. This Ornithocheirus might actually take the place of the Eudimorphodon now, overtaking that one as far as which pterosaur is my favorite in the Dinomania line, because this is a really nice looking figure. And again, being an Ornithocheirus, there are so few figures out there of that species, and you would think there would be more, especially with its popularity kind of displayed in Walking with Dinosaurs. You would think we would have more Ornithocheirus figures out there, but you just don't for some crazy reason. I don't really know why, but luckily Dinomania has given us one, and boy, have they ever given us one heck of an Ornithocheirus figure. This thing is, again, like I had stated, very large, extremely large overall, and really beautifully detailed. I love the fact that they put so much work into the sculpts, especially kind of having the bone structure really beautifully displayed throughout this pterosaur, but also the really nice pycnofibers and everything, and just the way they paint their figures is so beautifully done. It's so nice that they include like dark washes and some nice dry brushing, and just really go kind of the extra mile as far as the paintwork on their figures. And then of course including the kind of glass eye, plastic eye type of a look is really just the icing on the cake as far as the overall appearance of the Dinomania figures. Again, some of them are a little bit more exaggerated than others, but I feel like this overall is a pretty darn nice rendition of an Ornithocheirus. I really do quite like both the sculpt and paint. Definitely a really nicely done figure here on the part of Dinomania. So if you would like to pick this up, I will include a link in the description to the Dinomania website straight to the listing that they have for this Ornithocheirus. So make sure you check the description, go pick up this awesome Dinomania Ornithocheirus, and make sure you also like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.